Wow, what a crazy week of data, information, wrong information, President Biden coming out talking about what he's going to do for housing, rates coming back down, jobs market missing again. The last two jobs report were off by 167,000. And then to top it off, what we wanted is Mr. Big Mouth Powell confirmed that he will be cutting rates. So all the naysayers, all the we're not going to cut and they shouldn't cut, we know it's coming. It's a matter of time. And because that jobs report, the revise, was so off, are we going to get there sooner? What's up, everybody? Welcome back. It's another week. It's another episode of The Brief with your one and only Kenny Simpson. And for those of you that forgot what I do, maybe you're watching this because honestly, I'm getting a lot of people reaching out from social media, from podcasts, from The Brief, from everything. So I just wanted to stop and say, number one, thanks for listening. We do put a lot of time and effort into putting this out. And number two, if you do need to get a hold of me, what is the best way to do that? At Kenny B. Simpson on Instagram. You can DM me. You can email me, kenny@simpson-team.com. You can go to the simpson-team.com. Hit me up there. And my number, just search my name, Kenny Simpson Mortgage. You will find me all over the place. But anyways, back to The Brief, back to another week. And guys, as we always know, what do we jump into first? Inventory. And how are we looking? Well, the numbers don't lie, the data don't lie, so here we go. Nationally, last week we're at 498,000. This week we are at a whopping 500,579. Do we call that an improvement? Do we call that a disappointment? No, we just call it, that's what it is. That's the numbers, that's the data, folks, and that's what we got to live with. San Diego, how are we looking? Why do I do San Diego? For some of you might ask, is because I live in San Diego, so I figured why not talk about the market I'm in. And remember, guys, San Diego has 3 million people. 3 million. We are a large city. We just got deemed the worst or something inventory in the entire country. I don't know if we are, but I can tell you we are right there. Housing Wire put it out there. We are so far down. There's no listings. Anything that is priced to sell that my clients are putting offers, it is a bidding war. People are overpaying, and we are trying to get them in there. But boy, the competition is fierce. And guys, rates are still not even great. They're barely below 7. We were in the 7s. What's going on is people are starting to adjust and realize that this is what interest rates are. And they realize that there is no inventory coming. And they realize that if they wait until the rate is 5.75 or 5.5, and it has a 5 handle, we're talking conventional, we're not talking FHA Govy loans, FHA VA, they know this is going to be a major problem, and it's not going to be good. So that is why people are starting to realize I better get in this market now, or it's only going to get worse. So let's see how the inventory for San Diego is doing. We've got new listings is up 19%. Last week we're up. So we have 538 new listings, 355 sold. We're down 13% on that. All listings are 2830, up 4%. Guys, that's 2830 for 3 million people. That is terrible. And just to recap, to give you an example, in a normal market, whatever the hell normal is, when we are anywhere from 10 to 15,000. 10 would probably be now, 15 would be spring, summer peak, and we come back. Remember, we always go up and then we come down. We go up and then we come down. So the peak is about 15,000. Last summer, we just hit about 15,000. When we had the great financial crisis, the crash, whatever you want to call it, when housing was at all-time high in the listings and you guys, we're going to have a market crash because we're going to have these foreclosures and short sales, which those people were wrong and we're not. Because remember, guys, even if there are a lot of them, you don't know if the banks are going to work it out and defer and things like that. Why? Because banks don't want to be short sale and foreclosure. They don't want to start those businesses. They don't want to be in the short sale business. They don't want to be in the foreclosure business. They just don't want to. If they can work it out with the client and it seems like they could do this great. Even if things are on the foreclosure docket and they're going to get foreclosed and people have equity, they might be waiting till last minute playing games and eventually they'll just sell their house. So I'm just letting you know, foreclosures and short sales are rare because there's a lot of options out there. There's a lot of capital to buy those, and people have equity. I think the average person in America, they said, has a few $100,000 of equity now, which is insane. That was not like that in 2008 coming out. But remember, the peak was like August of 05, 06, right before. That's the thing, is the crash happened in 08, but it was getting out of control 05, 06. There was 28,000, it's right under that, 28,000 listings in San Diego at that time. There is 2,800, folks. That is 10 times less. Let me repeat, 28,000, there's 2,800. Just stop and think about that. Interest rates are terrible. Yes, when they get better, even if we pick up listings, you are going to have a lot more people become buyers. Why? Number one, because they're focusing on rate. Most people are going to wait until they see a 5 in front of the rate to start moving. And once people start buying and that momentum comes, that's what happens. It's going to start coming. Number two, it's affordability. Can they afford it? Because why? Because they've got principal and interest, they got taxes, they got insurance, they got water, they got electricity, they got emergency fund. Owning a house could be more expensive than owning what? Than renting. It just could be. I don't know. It just depends on your situation. The last but not least is inventory. A lot of people go out, they try to buy a home and they get discouraged, like, you know what? I'm just going to wait. They're going to wait for a housing crash. They're going to wait for a foreclosure crisis or a short sale crisis. They're going to wait for rates to come down. They're waiting for what? I don't know, but they're hoping more inventory comes. And I hate to break it to them. How is it going to come? The only way I see massive inventory coming, which I don't even know what massive is, maybe more inventory, is if we have a job loss recession. So we have a nasty recession. A lot of people lose their jobs and a lot of people are forced to sell, flight to cash, and go that way. Will that happen? If I knew I would write a book, this would happen, and I wouldn't be sitting here filming this video for you guys. So anyways, that is my thoughts on the market, specifically at San Diego. You can go back and study your market, so Google it. They'll have all the data so you can really see if you're healthy, unhealthy, what's going on. A healthy market is 10 to 15,000 in San Diego. It means people can sell, people can buy. You don't have to have this crazy bidding war. But guess what? The place like San Diego, I'll leave you with this. Not only are people locked in, this is the problem here. You could have bought a house just in 2019, guys, not even 15, 14, in 2019. You could have bought a house for $600,000. That house could be worth $1 million now. The step-up house that you want to buy could be $1.8 million. Even if rates come down, even if you sell your house and you may take this, most likely the higher taxes, the insurance, the payment, it's out of reach. People are like, I bought the house for $600. I owe $450. My payments all in $2,500. Even if I sell my house, I get $500,000. I move it in. My payment's going to go from $2,500 to $7,500. Do I really want to do that to myself and my family? Is it really worth it? And a lot of people are like, I'm staying where I'm at. They're looking at maybe buying an investment properties, or they're looking at just redoing their house, or maybe adding an ADU or adding onto the house because they're just over it. Because moving up in San Diego, you guys, it's not like you can just go look 20 minutes in San Diego to the east or somewhere. You're going to get some affordable. Wow, it's so much cheaper. It's really not. So those that bought earlier, not only it's not even the low rates, it's because the prices. They can't even rebuy the house they're in, nor do they want to. All right, so moving on here. So we got a very interesting week. We had Mr. Big Mouth Powell come out and talk. What I was just listening for, honestly, between all the bullshit that comes out of all these people's mouths, because that's what it is. What I was looking for from Jerome Powell for us first-time home buyers, for everybody in the real estate business, I can't say for the global, but what we were looking for is, hey, are you going to cut rates? I just need you to confirm, because I'm hearing from people, other Fed officials, we're hearing from economists, we're hearing from this company and that company. They're not going to, all these things. And I don't like to listen to people because they don't make the decision. At the end of the day, the Federal Reserve, the body of people make a decision. And Jerome Powell said, yes, we're going to be slow to cut, but we are going to cut. And when he cuts rates, folks, yes, we're not going to see a rate cut. That quarter point is not going to help the HELOCs, the business lines of credit, the credit cards, construction. It's not. What it's going to do is between these ears right here, it's called your brain. It is going to trigger something. It is going to say they pivoted. They're not even going to hike anymore unless inflation got out of control like the 70s. Could that happen? I really haven't heard much talk about that like it's going to, because people are running out of money and credit card debt is high and we're way past the pandemic of being locked down and all that stuff, right? So we're past that. And I'll say we're expecting job loss to go, unemployment's 3.9. We're expecting it to go to 5%. So that is a worse economy, less people working, less people spending money. So I'm guessing that inflation should be going down, not up. But regardless, the first quarter point is psychological. It is going to break a psychological barrier for the entire world, for the US. And then when you go to real estate and micro it down to real estate, it is going to be monumental. That means for the CEO of a bank or the chief credit officer for a bank or a mortgage lender or realtors or a bar, oh my gosh, the Fed finally cut. They finally realized we can start coming down the mountain. We can start saying that cut will be big psychologically. But on top of that, yes, we will see the 10-year Treasury pull back. We might see the spread between the 10-year and the 30-year come down. So it is monumental in that way of psychological, and we need it to happen so everybody shuts up and quits talk. Just like we don't have to talk about the hikes anymore. Once we cut, we can now shut up and start talking about they're not going to cut, they're going to push it off, we can't cut, blah, 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 blah. Everybody's tired of it because everybody's saying that is 100% wrong because they are going to cut. And now, even more, the feds do look at the jobs report. If the jobs report got worse and worse over the next 2 months, guys, it can go to shit quick. That's what we forget. If it does, here is the thing that we have to remember. That means if the jobs report gets worse or gets revised for the worse, that makes them going, wait a minute, I might have to speed up this process because I don't want to be, late to the game, which they always are. So for you first-time home buyers, the second good piece of news we got this week was we got January and December jobs report revised. What does that mean? That means if you go back the last 13 jobs report, one of them was revised higher. Every other one was revised lower. Out of 13 jobs reports, I think they missed by 600,000 jobs that they basically said we had and we didn't have. How is it in 2024 when we can send a rocket to the moon, which you've been able to do for a while, which you can order food and stuff by clicking a button, right? There's driverless cars. There's AI. There's people like doing crazy things. I think about all the crazy things you do, and we can't just wait to get the correct number to say this is the right jobs report. Because guess what, guys? What if the feds knew the jobs report was correct before? What if they knew? What if they knew the jobs report was correct and those are the right numbers? They might have cut sooner, which some of us think he should. Because last time I checked, he was late 1 year in raising rates. A year, guys, not a week, not a month, a year. I keep saying this over and over because we watch the data. And the people that I listen to and respect the most, they have been right the most. They watch the data. They're not getting all involved in, we think they should do this. No, the data is clear, guys. So now we missed it again. But this is what else happens is you might have went to buy a home and the jobs report came out and rates got jacked up and now you have a higher rate from it. So Mr. Jerome Powell, the government of the United States, when are you going to open up your brain, turn your hearing aid up and listen? Could you please, for crying out loud, can we just wait till we get correct numbers to get a report so we have correct data and basically we make policy off correct data, not off bullshit data? Because everybody's tired of it and everybody, you know what? Yeah, they sniffing out bullshit. So that's my rant on that because it's really frustrating. But guys, imagine if you had a job and your job was to provide reports to your boss. In 12 out of the last 13 reports, you were off like a lot. Guess what? You would be fired. You're fired. As Donald Trump says, you're out. You're fired. So how in the world can we not get this right? I don't know, but it's very disruptive. It's very frustrating because things and policies and markets and rates and Wall Street and the stock market, they all do things based on the data that comes out. So anyways, moving on from that, I think I beat that horse to death. I think I did. So for you first-time home buyer options, somebody looking to maybe refi, somebody looking to buy an investment property, whoever you may be listening to this, here is 3 loan situations, 3 loan types that can save you money in this high rate environment. Number 1 is what everybody's sick and tired of hearing is there's a 1-1 buy down, a 2-1 buy down, a 3-1 buy down. All you're doing, folks, is you're taking a 7% rate that is, let's say currently, and you're buying it down 6% or 5% or 4%, and those are temporary buy downs. So if you do a 1-year buy down, it's only 6% for 1 year. If you do a 2-1 buy down, it's 5% for 1 year, 6%, and then it goes back to 7. And then thereon. If it's 3, you can do the math. That is one option. The other option that people are looking at is a regular buy down. That is, I take a 7 and I pay a point and I get a 6.5, or I get a 7, I pay 2 points, I get a 6%. And a lot of people go, which one should I do? And we're going to go into a minute. And the third one is not even a buy down. It's some people are saying, could I get an arm rate? Is there an arm that's cheaper? In some cases there are, in some cases they're not. So there's 3 options to save you on your money, save you on your rate, save you on the cost to help you save money in this high rate environment. So one of the things I want to talk about is I'm having these conversations a lot. People that need to refi, people that need to buy, primary investment, whatever it may be. And the thing is, hey, Kenny, you quoted me a rate of whatever it is, guys. I'm picking a rate, 7%. You're saying if I buy it down and I pay 1 point, I'm at 6.5, but it's only saving me $150. Correct. But that's going to cost me $7,500. Correct. That doesn't make any sense. I said, no, to me, it doesn't. This is why it doesn't make sense. We are at the end of this high rate environment. Could rates be 5% in a year? Sure. Is that 3%? Nope. Is it 2? Nope. Is it 4? No. But here's the thing is, I believe, based on data, based on fundamentals, that rates will be lower this time next year. If they are, and I call you back and I say, hey, Mary, Bob, Susie, George, Tommy, whatever your name is, I can take you from a 7 to a 6, a 7 to a 5.5. I'm going to save you a lot of money, like $500, $1,000, $300, whatever the number is. Why spend the money now? Why buy down the money when you know you're going to refi? If you're buying a house, take the money. Go put it in to fix the bathroom. Go put it into buying new furniture. Go put it back into closing costs, Go, if you're buying investment property, I just told this guy the other day, go put it in to basically, you're going to do a short-term rental. Well, there's probably a lot of your furniture you're going to buy or remodel that bathroom. I would take the money if I were a first-time home buyer and I would use it towards something else, because if I call you in a year to refi, you're going to be highly frustrated that you didn't listen, because you're like, I just threw $7,500 of hard work money out the window for what? I could have used it to fix up my house or do something to add a value. The 1% buy down is not going to add you value. It's going to save you a little bit of money. Look, if you need to do that, if it's affordability and you need to do the 2-1 or the 1-1, I get it, folks. Go ask the seller for a credit, do it. But I'm just giving you my 2 cents. We're at the end of this high rate and we're going to be going into refinance season pretty soon. And I think you're going to regret paying the point. So if you can avoid paying the point, not do that, take the credit you get, pay your closing costs, or take that money you're going to pay for the point and put it back into your property and add value some way. Good old Barbara Cochran's back out of the news in this Yahoo Finance article. Barbara again sounding the alarm, saying, let me read. We are currently experiencing a bottleneck in the real estate market, Corcoran said, but this won't last forever. Sellers don't want to move from their apartments or their home because they don't want to take a higher interest rate, she said. And buyers are too afraid, because they are getting less house. So you've got a standoff going on, but things are changing. Corcoran believes there's a major swing in the real estate market as soon as interest rates drop. The minute those interest rates come down, all hell's going to break loose and the prices are going to go through the roof, she said. Now, sellers are staying put, but they're not going to stay put if interest rates go down by 2%. It's going to be a signal of everybody come back out and buy like crazy, and the housing prices will go up 20% like the COVID. Folks, here's the thing is people go, well, what if she's right or what if she's wrong? What if she's right? So you first-time home buyers, what if in your market it goes up 5, 10, 20%? How frustrated are you going to be? That's what she's saying is. The other thing is she's saying the demand coming off the sidelines is going to be insane. I do agree with you, Barbara. I think the demand is going to be insane. Do I agree with 20%? I just don't know. In some markets they may hit. But for those of you that want to sit around and wait for that to happen, well, we'll find out if Barbara was right or Barbara was wrong. President Biden went on and did his speech. I didn't listen to it. But he actually discussed a lot of things in the housing market. And let me just bring you guys up to date. I was at a Housing Wire event last year, April, actually coming up this time. And the Fannie Mae Freddie Mac director was there, Sandra, forget your last name. And the pressure they're getting, and the pressure is because people voice their opinion, surveys, their local politicians, and it pushes up to FHFA, which is Fannie, Freddie, whatever, right? So she was saying a few of their biggest things are, and what she's focusing on, and I've said this before over and over, is that they have affordability is a problem, people coming up with down payments a problem, and then obviously there's no inventory, right? So she was addressing that, saying that is their biggest obstacle. Look, folks, there's a lot of people that have good credit. They work 2 jobs. Maybe they've got $20,000, $30,000 saved, and they can't save $100,000, $200,000, $300,000. That is not normal. They don't have 20% down. And majority of people buying a first-time home, it's around 10%, 8% down. So unless you come probably from family money or have a great job or a business or something like that, it's very hard to save up 20%. It takes a while. So if you're 25, 30 and you want to buy, you might have 3% down, 0 down, whatever. So, but they're still good borrowers. They pay their bills on time. They're saving 401k. They might have some money in the stock market, but they have life. They have kids. So just like all of us, they have expenses that they're trying to deal with. So that is one of the problems. So President Biden obviously always announces plans that he wants to do. And look, is this stuff going to get done? Probably not. But let's go through some of the stuff he talked about and see what may stick, what may not. So one of the things he said is President Biden will call on congressional Republicans to end the years of inaction and pass legislation to lower costs, providing $10,000 tax credit for first-time home buyers and people who sell their starter homes, build and renovate more than 2 million homes and lower rental costs. How are you going to renovate 2 million homes? You know what you're going to do? You're going to go ding, 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 home flippers. Remember I said this? He needs you home flippers. All you home flippers that get a bad rap and get shit on because you guys do, which I completely disagree, because nobody knows how hard you work. Nobody understands your job. They don't. If you've been a home flipper, you'd have more respect than not. These guys are taking a shit home, which honestly a first-time home buyer probably shouldn't buy because they don't have the money, and it could disrupt or ruin your life, and it could bankrupt them. True. You might as well just let somebody do it for you, and you just pay them, and then you just move in your house, put your pictures up, your TVs up, right? Put your furniture in there, and start throwing a party and live your life and go work and live your life. Why take on a project? If you want to take on a project, take it on. But not everybody wants to, folks, because moving's already stressful enough. Have you ever remodeled a house or took it down to the studs? Do you understand what a nightmare it is and the cost and dealing with contractors and vendors and subcontractors? It's a pain in the ass. So Biden saying give $10,000 credit. Obama did this. I'll explain why I think that's a bad idea. Mortgage relief credit. This is I think helping people out. Down payment assistance for first home buyer generations. That is already happening in many different places. Lowering closing costs for refinancing. The federal housing finance, basically it's going to say let's get rid of title insurance on refinances, which could work. Lowering the closing costs of mortgages. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau will pursue rulemaking and guidelines to address competitive closing costs by lenders on home buyers and homeowners. Look, guys, I don't feel like lenders are charging much. It's like we're not since 2008. Let me tell you where you're getting ripped off. Ready? Insurance. Yeah. Hey, government, step up. Places in California, how do you allow the insurance to go up that much? Do something. Focus on that. People are getting their ass kicked on insurance. The other thing is credit reports going skyrocket. How is it 5 years ago a credit report was $25 and now it's $100? How could you allow that? Yes, please help us cut costs like that. And yeah, any other little bullshit closing costs that are in a refi or purchase that maybe a title, an escrow, a lender, anybody charges, sure, let's get rid of it. I'm sure you can go through there, but I can tell you right now that I just gave you two, insurance and credit, but people are being charged $250 for a joint credit report, guys. How is that possible? It's like a drug prices that went through the roof. So I hope CFPB comes in and I hope you start hitting people and these third-party vendors and anybody that's price gouging consumers because it's ridiculous. Let's talk about title insurance. Could you get rid of title insurance on a refi? Title insurance is actually really cheap on a refi. Could it save you $1,500, $500? Sure. The problem is you have to change the requirements. You still have to make sure that the homeowner or lender is protected. So even though they bought a house, things could leak on and creep on, and you're protecting the lender. So look, we have good data, we have stuff. So could you allow some type of different reporting or AI or something from title? Sure. What happens when there is a title problem and you don't have title insurance and you just have an escrow fee? You have to bring title in. How does that work? I don't know. So could this work? Absolutely. Could consumers save money? Absolutely, folks. But you have to make things more efficient. You cannot allow price gouging from insurance, from credit, from anybody. It's ridiculous. Everybody's in on this. We're all in. Show us where you can cut. Show us how we can save consumer money. We would love to. It's a no-brainer. So America needs to build more housing in order to lower rental costs and increase access to ownership. That's why the president is calling on Congress to pass legislation to build and renovate more than 2 million homes, which would close the housing gap and lower housing costs for renters and homeowners. This legislation would build an executive actions in the Biden-Harris housing supply plan that contribute to record housing construction last year. Look, guys, this is a great idea. It's great, but there's also a problem. You have very local restrictions and guidelines and all this. So you're talking about a national thing. It's got to get done. I agree with this, but look, we don't even have land here to build in San Diego. We're trying, but we have to get through plans and permits here, or you're on the coastal. So as easy and as great as this sounds, it's never that easy. They've been trying to do this shit for a long, long time. Basically, what he's saying is lowering costs for renters and stuff. Yes, we are short on housing. The other thing is, Grant Cardone brought this up one time. We're actually short probably more than 5 million, maybe 20 million, because a lot of the housing out there is just shit. And he even said the president's going to have to go out there and get some of these big flipper companies and incentivize them to go out and buy these homes and fix them up, maybe give them cheap money to fix them up and sell them back to first-time home buyers and say, hey, we'll go and charge you 2-3% on the money. Go buy the houses, fix them up. We'll give you 100%, whatever it is. You got to get creative, Biden. Give them fix and flip loans at 3%, 100%, 3%. They'll go out there, buy it. They make a little bit of margin. Cool. You know, they're going to have to make money just like everybody else makes money. It makes sense. They sell it to a first-time home buyer. It could be done, but you got to incentivize them. And how do you incentivize them? Give them really good debt and give them cheap debt. Good debt would be like they buy this home for $200,000. They're going to put $50,000 in. Cool. You give them $250,000. You charge them 3% interest, and they have to sell it to a first-time home buyer. Boom. I think you should do that. And then that house they would sell for, let's say, $300,000. They make a little bit of money. The homeowner wins. The real estate market wins. And the U.S. government is winning because their plan's working. Will this ever get done? Who knows? Because nothing ever seems to get done with this lovely government. And that, my folks, my friends, everybody, that is it. Also note, I will be launching a YouTube channel soon. I'm just so busy. It's almost there, just ready to launch it. Hopefully next week or two, I will keep you posted on that. That will just be my name. I will heavily be focused on mortgages, real estate news, and teaching you guys as much as I can, first-time home buyers, all that. So anyways, thank you so much for watching. Have a great week. Until then, be safe, watch the data, and pray for lower rates.